Hi everyone and welcome. My name is Dora and this is my palette inventory video for 2026. I've got my notes here from last year so that I can compare some numbers. I think that'll be really interesting. I'm also going to be doing a tiny little declutter, and how I've categorized my palettes is by the amount of pans hit, or in the case of this first pile here, all of my palettes with no pans hit yet. Last year I had 11 palettes with no pan. This year I've got 13, so 2 more. And I've even got the numbers for the 2 previous years as well. Not for the other categories, but for palettes without pan. In 2024 I had 20, and in 2023 I had 23 palettes. 5 new palettes came in and I haven't hit pan on them yet, so this one here is one of them. And then there were 2 palettes that have now got a pan that didn't have a pan this time last year. And there's even one palette, the Ellen Tracy The Naked Eye collection, that I have decluttered and passed on since. Okay, let's start over here then. So this is the Sigma New Mod. I bought this palette for myself early last year, February I think. And here's what it looks like, and I really love it. I'm so happy I have it. I'm not sure if I'm ready to hit pan in any of these yet, but yeah, I'm enjoying this palette. And I think if I can reduce my collection even more, I'd have even more opportunity to reach for this. Another new one is the Morphe Love Bite palette. I got this for Christmas. And here's what this palette looks like. I have rolled this into Deck of Panning now, and I've done one look with this palette already. The mattes I found a little bit patchy, but you know, that could be down to how my lids are, oiliness, the type of priming products that I use. But I'm excited to play with this a little more and maybe hit a pan in it this year. That would be great. Another new to me palette that came in 25 is the Glaminatrix Sugar and Spice. And I'm using air quotes here because some of the shadows come from different Glaminatrix palettes. I got this palette from Ruth, who used to be updating here on YouTube about her panning journey. I really miss Ruth, so I've linked her down below. Maybe we can convince her to come back one day. Here's what this one looks like at the moment. The 4 shadows here that are missing are actually in my BYOP this year, and I haven't put them back in. So yeah, if you want to see them, they're over in a different series. This was another declutter that I received in 25. This is the Revolution Shadow Palette, Love Yourself, in soft pink. And it's a really pretty palette, lovely and neutral, a bit rose leaning. I have done, I think, 1 look with this so far. Definitely haven't played enough with this, but I liked it a lot. And this is my last new palette that I received in 2025. This was a Christmas gift, and it's the Dior 5 Couleurs in soft cashmere. And here's what this one looks like. I've done 1 look with it around Christmas. I want to say Christmas Day probably, because yeah, we do gift exchange on Christmas Eve, and I really enjoyed it. Lovely neutral, cool toned-ish, super pretty. You will see, I don't have so many neutral color stories in my palettes. These next palettes were already here last year and still have no pan. I'm gonna kick off over here because this is a palette I would like to declutter. I'm probably going to depot some of the shadows. I think I'm gonna turn that into a video. I've got some other palettes that I decluttered at the end of last year that I want to depot, so I think I'll just add that to the pile. This is XX Revolution Sugar Baby. It nearly became my Pan That palette of 2026, but the formula on some of these shimmers, these 2 in particular, is really not that great in terms of hard pan. The mattes are beautiful, very pigmented, easily blendable. I like these 2 shadows as well. It definitely helped to have that Pan That palette selection for 2026 because you will see, a lot of the palettes that I did consider are now part of my declutter. I think it's just something about really considering, okay, am I willing to pan this for a whole year? That helped me to decide, do I actually still want this in my collection? And the answer is no. Then I've got the Laura Mercier Winter Wonderment palette here. This was I think a purchase from late 2024. Beautiful 9-pan palette. I have, every single time I dipped into this, I really enjoyed it. Beautiful formula. They're all like satin or shimmer in here. This one is a bit of a matte, but almost like a satin too. but I don't mind that. I often mix my shadows with other palettes anyway, but even just using this, I am able to create a standalone look, and I really, really like it. And I love this pop of teal here too. Then I've got this YSL Quint here. I actually poured this into my plan to pan for this year, 26 and 2026. And I'm trying to hit pan in all of the shades. I have not hit any pans yet, but I've still got the whole year to do that. This palette is a lot more warm leaning than I imagined it to be, but I really like it. And this is a great inner corner highlight shadow that I'm using a lot lately. Probably the first one I will hit pan in. So I'm expecting this. Well, it should be in my palettes with 5 pans hit next year. This is the Revolution Pro Rockstar Noir Edition palette. You will see later on that I've got the Nude Edition as well. And here's what this palette looks like. This is such a beautiful shadow, mystery. It's coppery, but also pink. Super, super lovely as a topper shadow. Then I've got the Colored Rain Queen of Hearts palette. This is a declutter that I received from Louise, who's also no longer here on YouTube. I really, really hope she'll come back one day as well. And this was a Pan That Palette contender for 2025. And I just love it too much to actually want to pan it to completion. So yeah, doing that selection, it just really helps. And as a little spoiler, but not for this video, I'm going to be doing something while I've got all of my palettes out. I'll film a little clip and I'll insert that into my Pan That Palette in Order update that will be coming next. But this is a beautiful palette. Absolutely love these shimmers. So impactful. The mattes are beautiful as well. This is such a favorite shadow here. I love a taupe. This one, I've tried to dupe that in my collection and I'm not able to. So pretty. And sadly discontinued now. And if you're wondering about these star stickers, Louise put the constellation of Taurus, that's my star sign, on here, which I thought was so sweet and thoughtful. Then I've got the Huda Beauty Mercury Retrograde palette here. This is falling apart, but never mind. I really, really love this palette. I think it could probably be a Pan That palette one day, but only if I'm worried that the formula is gonna go. So far, it's been holding up. I dipped into it quite a bit in 25 and I loved it all the time. Supernova again, favorite shadow as a topper shadow. Yeah, I really enjoyed that with a sort of more pinky look or a more warm toned look, not necessarily just with what's going on here. And I think it was Ultraviolet that I put on top of a pink look, and that looked so nice as well. Then I've got the BH Cosmetics Passion in Paris palette, and I've barely dipped into this one. I did consider for a moment here and there, not just once, whether I should declutter it, but I just haven't explored it enough yet to want to pass it on. This sort of more warm leaning blue matte, actually it's probably more of a satin, that really speaks to me. I love this dusty purple here as well. Probably less keen on these red ones here. Yeah, I think it would be just really nice to show it some love. I'm definitely going to roll this into No Pan Left Behind soon. And then finally, another palette I got from Ruth. She gave me 3 Beauty Bay palettes, so you'll see more of them later. This is the New Mood palette. And although I really, really love the Beauty Bay formula, I don't know, I think something about this color story throws me off a little bit. There are some shadows in here that I'm not very drawn to, euphoric probably. This is so pretty, don't get me wrong, but it's just neither of these shades in this duochrome are shadows that I enjoy wearing. I'm thinking about depotting this as well. I might incorporate 3 shadows into the Wilderness palette. Probably not quite yet because I think I should figure out if I really want to toss those 3 or 4 Wilderness shadows before I commit to that. But still, it's going to be part of my declutter, but I'm going to hold on to many of these shadows and depot them or repress them into round magnetic pans, and then therefore I can roll them into my BYOP. I've really, over 2025, I've been enjoying getting into my singles collection and really getting more use out of that and showing it some more love, and especially because it helps me so much in teaming shadows from my Pan That palette or Pan Those palettes that I'm trying to make progress on, where I need like a bit more variety, and I think this would just lend itself to that as well. And I don't need 20 shadows, where I think realistically there's maybe about a dozen in here that I would like to hold on to. And then I think the rest can go. And it's quite bulky packaging. And yeah, every time I open my palette drawer, it's just, I mean, they all fit just about into one drawer, but I just want more space and breathing room there. That's my goal for next year to be. I'll talk about my total numbers also in comparison at the end of the video, but I would like to just see them dwindle even more across 2026. Here are my palettes with 1 pan hit. Last year I had 12, this year I've got 9. So I'm down by 3. Actually, 2 joined this pile here because I managed to hit pan in them across 25. But then 5 left my collection. There was the Revolution Desert Desire, which I passed on, the I Heart Revolution Tasty Pineapple palette, which I also passed on, then the XX Revolution Mint Master Luxe palette, which I've officially decluttered, but it will appear in my depotting, frankening video. The Revolution Jewel Glow, I depotted. Some of those shadows are now in my singles collection. And then finally the Natasha Denona Ayana palette. I kept all of the shadows, but no, I actually decluttered one of them, but the packaging broke, so I recycled that. And from this lot, there are also 2 palettes that I would like to declutter. And they're just these ones here on top, actually. So let's start over here. This is the Revolution Pro So Jaded Quartet. I also considered this as a pan palette for this year. Tried a look with it and then ultimately chickened out and decided against that because I just, you know, I wasn't in the mood for panning a really smoky dark green look. Despite how pretty these shadows are, I enjoy them. This is a pressed glitter, very fine pressed though. Oh, but it's so pretty and it looks really, really nice on top of that green look. But it's just so intense. And I think because I don't enjoy the packaging, you know, they are actual, well, sort of gemstones on here, but it's not very practical to how I store my palettes. So I think I can let go of the packaging and maybe save some of the shadows in here. So another one for the declutter pile. And this one as well, I Heart Revolution Cherry Please. So just a little quint. And it's pretty. I love these sort of colors, especially in spring, summer. But I've got them over and over again in my collection and I've swatched them out. I think when I last did like a little declutter type of video, I think it was my official eyeshadow declutter project pan finale. And I know I can dupe at least these 4 here and maybe less so this one in the center. But oh, that is so pretty with that peachy golden shift on the pink. Maybe I can depot this. Over here's the Essence Welcome to Miami palette. I almost decluttered this many times. It's been on many a chopping block, but I just can't quite bring myself to get rid of it yet. The formula of these Essence shadows is so beautiful. For that reason alone, I can't get rid of it. This pink here is such a favorite shadow. And I've really been enjoying that as a topper shadow. And I just don't want to ruin it by repressing it and adding alcohol into it. Here's my Doja Cat Visions palette. And I really love this palette. I have not used it at all, I think, in 25. Maybe a tiny little bit. But I really want to use this. So again, I think I need to pull this into No Pad Left Behind soon. These shadows are just so pretty. Specifically Rainforest. Ooh, and Terrain, and the BH Cosmetics formula is just so beautiful. These next 3 are palettes that also had 1 pan last year, the Sweet Pinks by Juvia's, and this is what I meant with the Cherry Please palette, I Heart Revolution. I've got, I think this one was a dupe for one of the pink shadows that I have in there. And yeah, I don't think I'll ever get rid of this. I love pink shadow. I love pink as a color. So this is such a favorite. And I quite enjoy having some monochromatic palettes in my collection. You know, that way I don't really need them necessarily in other palettes, I'm thinking. And if I did want those pops of pink, I know exactly where to go. Then also with 1 pan, Natasha Denona My Dream palette. I don't love this palette, but there are definitely some lovely shadows in here. This one, Invention, gave me a rash. when I tried it, because I had it in No Pan Left Behind. So I might have to just swatch that out and try again. Not necessarily right now. Or shall I? Yeah, go on. I'll do that and then we'll see how that works out for me. Obviously different on the hand compared to the eyes, but I had it swatched on my arm. I think on the inside of my arm where my skin is definitely more sensitive compared to here, but maybe I need to get rid of that specific shadow. And because these are magnetic, I could always put them either back in here, press something else in here, or add them into my BYOP with any of them really. And here's the other Natasha Denona palette that I still have, Glam palette. I do like this one actually. Such a classic, I feel like. And I really do like taupes as shimmers. Again, I think I could play with this a little bit more. I had it in No Pan Left Behind in the summer, and I don't think that was the right season for it. I wasn't really wowed by it. I think it's probably more for this time of the year. But I've already completed No Pan Left Behind on it, so probably won't be pulling this out anytime soon. But yeah, maybe those individual shadows could go in my BYOP. These two palettes joined this year in my one pan hit category. So this is an indie brand from London, September Rose Cosmetics, Still Pretty, sadly discontinued. But this is another beautiful monochromatic palette. And again, I haven't played with this enough, but I did hit pan in Camellia here. And that was in Pan Those Eyeshadows just at the beginning of the year. And then I paused that project. I might bring it back. I've been thinking about doing that, but probably not for an entire year. We'll see. And the last palette, Ciate London, I'm a Woman, What's Your Superpower? This is volume 1. And I hit pan in Power Hungry here. And I also did a No Pan Left Behind on this in Deck of Panning last year. I really like this palette and I like the formula of it. I find these easy to work with, very blendable. I find them better than the Natasha Denona. But I think everyone is so different in terms of what preferences we have and how our skin is and what sort of priming products we use. So for me, this works really, really well, and Natasha Denona less so, but I know there are others where it's the other way around. Not necessarily my color story, but I got this in an advent calendar and I'm pleasantly surprised by it. So I'm gonna hold on to this one. Here are my palettes with 2 pans hit. Last year I had 8 and now I've got 5. I decluttered 2 palettes. One is the Catrice Tropic Exotic. Again, I may rescue some of the shadows in that repress Franken video. And then the Revolution Chilled palette I ended up depotting. I kept many of the shadows, but definitely not all of them. I even decluttered some more for a second pass. And then there are 2 other palettes, which you will still see, but they've got more than 2 pans now. There's also one palette that got demoted from having 3 pans hit to 2 pans hit because I ended up frankening the shadow with the pan in. Let's start over here. This is the Too Faced That's My Jam palette, and this is my Pan That palette, or one of them for this year. And here we go, and I've got 2 pans in there. Absolutely love this. This is not going anywhere. This is the BH Cosmetics Colori Vivace palette. This was my Pan That palette of 2024, but just for the first quarter of the year, I think, or maybe half of the year, and then I stopped. I really just love the BH Cosmetics formula, and because they no longer exist, I don't want to get rid of this one. And I haven't touched it at all in 25, so again, another one I need to play with more and do an No Pan Left Behind on. This is the Beauty Bay Wilderness palette, and I really like this color story. I love those greens here. And this dark blue is so, so pretty. This one, Ivy, I think, and look at that with Fossil there as well. That could be like a dupe for that Revolution quartet that I'm getting rid of. I'm gonna have to try that out properly. It's these 3 red ones that I'm not that keen on, and then I don't really use a lid setting shade either. So I think I could probably depot these and then put something else from the New Mood in here. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. But to be decided, and I just need to try these 3 red ones out a little bit more to decide. I think Heat is quite hard pan-ish. That's not too bad, it still swatches really well. And my final Beauty Bay palette, Retro Love. This one is just so pretty. I can't really see myself ever getting rid of this one, but again, I also haven't really played with this one yet. Even though I had these two pans here in Be My Baby, and I even expanded that a little bit, and then in LOVE, but they were both in Pan Those Eyeshadows and Expand Those pans, so no pan left behind on this one soon. And this is the Revolution Creator Revolution Nude Rain Forever Limitless Nude Rain palette. I'm only really using this palette to franken things, and that's why it's such a mess. So I've only got 2 pans left in Glamour and Swim, and yeah, I frankened these 3 with an Essence blush, which I'll show you in my 2+ years project pan update next time. I spilled some of an Essence loose powder on here, that's why I've got those pink dots there. But yeah, it doesn't even live in my official palette drawer anymore. It's part of my frankening pile, but let me know what you think. Should I just say that this is officially out and then therefore not counted in my inventory anymore, but still have it kicking around for frankening purposes? Here are my palettes with 3 pans hit. Last year I had 7, this year I've got 6. And that's 1 that got decluttered, Revolution Phoenix palette. 2 left this category. 1 was the Revolution Nude Rain, which you already saw in my 2 pans hit category, and then another one has now got 4 pans, which you'll see later, and 2 new ones came in because they previously had 2 pans and now they've got 3 pans, Revolution Smoked and the Revolution Luxe Shadow palette. I'll point them out. Okay, let's start over here. Another BH Cosmetics palette, Do Not Disturb. It's upside down, but I think the idea of it is that you can apply your shadow and actually have this Do Not Disturb sign up while you're looking in the mirror. I love that. I really, really love this palette. As you can see, I don't think I touched it in 25. That's the thing about stopping Pan Those Eyeshadows. I thought it would help me to actually touch more of my palettes, but I think I actually touched fewer of them in 25. So I think decluttering and maybe bringing back Pan Those Eyeshadows will definitely help me. Here I've got 4 Revolution Pro New Neutral palettes. Let's start over here. This is the Smoked palette. This is my Pan That palette this year. And I've got 3 pans in here, of course in all of the neutral shadows. But it's a beautiful palette, absolutely love this. And this is the other one that joined this category with 1 new pan. And I think it was this pressed glitter here, Party, where I hit pan. I don't count this one anymore based because I actually finished it. I find that it's very similar in tone to the Sigma New Mod. So I might pour these both in together into No Pan Left Behind. Yeah. And then this one is the blush palette. I don't think I touched this one last year, but I really like it. Beautiful color story. Love the formula on here. And this is the Revolution Pro Romance palette. I think this is a contender for depotting, but because some of the formula have just not held up, or they weren't ever that good to begin with, Obsess and Crush, the 2 most exciting shadows, because they're duochromes, but they're just a little bit, see what I mean? Oh my goodness, look, and then they're like crumbly as well. Yeah, I think I need to do something with that. Ooh, I think I might add that. Goodness, I wasn't expecting to do that. I wasn't planning on decluttering this one, but I think I'm just gonna add it to the pile just to save some of the shadows and then get rid of the rest. And finally, Revolution Pro Rockstar Nude Edition. So remember I showed you the Noir Edition. This also very nearly became my Pan That palette for this year, but then I opted not to. Same as last year as well. I love it. I'm gonna hold on to it. And these are my palettes with 4 pans hit. Last year I had just 3, and this year I've got 4. And that's because this one here got a new pan. Urban Decay, you got the Look palette or Prince palette. So this was a limited edition, and I just think I'm going to try and depot them, hopefully without too much damage. And these are magnetic, and I think they fit into the Sugar and Spice palette by Glaminatrix, so I'm gonna try that one out immediately as soon as I've depotted them. And if they don't fit, then they can go in my magnetic palettes. Again, it's another one where the packaging is not practical for me. I have scratched many palettes with this beautiful symbol here, but never mind, it can go now. This one is the Revolution New Neutral Utopia palette, and I really like the color story of this one. So this is not going anywhere anytime soon. This is the XX Revolution Bare Luxe palette. Oh, it's just such a dust magnet and fluff magnet. But I really love it. Super nice formula on here. And I like the color story as well. So yeah, definitely holding on. Final one from this pile, Revolution Pro New Neutral Passion palette. This was the first of that set. Remember I showed you those 4 New Neutral with all the leopard print cover. I'm ready to pass this one on, or declutter it, I should say. I will save some of the shadows, but I don't need all of them. I just don't. Like these rusty tones, I've got them over and over again in my collection. Some of these neutrals are really amazing and the formula is great. Like, that is nice. But then Sham, for example, is just, yeah, it's pretty, but it's also, you know, super mediocre. Very prone to hard pan. I think I can let go of a lot of these shadows. And I bought this in 21 without knowing what it looked like inside because we couldn't open any palettes or spot anything. But I just thought this packaging was so fun. Maybe because I decided to pan the Revolution Pro Smog palette this year. I'm happy to break up that collection. I don't need to hold on to all 5 of them. I don't want to do that anymore. Then last year, this palette here, ABH Riviera, was part of my 5 pans hit palettes. I only had the one. This year, I have none. 6 pans. I had one last year. That was, at the time, the Barry M Black Cherry palette. And the Barry M Black Cherry has been completely panned in 2025, so that's no longer here either. I didn't have any 7 pans palette last year or this year. 8 pans, I had one last year, again 0 this year. That was the Revolution Constellation palette, which I've already decluttered at the end of the year, which is going to be part of my Franken Depot video. Jumping up to 10 pans, I had 1 palette last year. This year, 0. Revolution Kombucha Kiss. This was my palette of 23 and 24. I depotted, Frankened a few shadows, got rid of the rest. I still have 2 Franken shadows left, basically. Moving on to 11 pans hit. Last year I had 0. This year I've got 1. So it's this one here, but I'm not going to open it because that's going to be my palette in order update, where I already, teased a little bit in terms of wanting to do something fun for that. Completely unrelated, but yes, palette related. You will see, you'll find out. I hope you'll stick around and subscribe. But let's also talk about the totals. So in 2025, I had a total of 45 eyeshadow palettes. This year, before my declutter, I've got 38. So I'm down 7. But now I've just decluttered another 7, so I'm down 14, which brings me down to 31 palettes. 5 new ones came in 2025, remember? So I actually ended up decluttering 18 and panning 1. I'm so proud of myself. That is huge to me. I think I said at the end of last year, my unofficial goal was to be down to like 27 palettes by the end of this year. I'm really not that far from it. That's just 4 more. Obviously, I need to ensure that not more comes in. But just to wrap things up, here are the 7 palettes that I have decided to declutter. You will see them all again when I do that video. I'm hoping I can all fit it into one. It's going to be a long video, like 2 hours. Oh goodness, my poor computer. Maybe I have to split it into 2 parts. But these have officially exited my collection. So thank you so much for watching all the way until the end. I really hope you have a lovely rest of your day or night, wherever you are. And I'm sending you so much love. Take care. Bye.